Welcome to the Not Move podcast, everybody. This is Bettors. Thank you guys for joining today. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. It is July 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We have one, two, three, about what, 4 or 5 games starting here at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time. So 7:10, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Cool. So the first thing I like to do at the start of these shows is talk about the weather. I like to use two sources for weather um, for the most part. The first one is rotogrinders.com. A lot of you may be familiar with that. I think they do a great job with updating weather for these baseball games and other sports. So let's see here. Miami and Baltimore, it looks like a broken line of storms is what they're saying. Broken line of storms tries to move in. It should fizzle out before arriving. So that game looks like it's good to go. Seattle at Detroit. A storm looks increasingly likely to clip the ballpark with a storm in game. Decent chance of a delay. So that game, once again, could get delayed, possibly postponed. Seattle and Detroit. Cleveland and the White Sox, Chicago White Sox, looks like they're going to get some rain tonight as well. I won't be covering that game. It is a doubleheader. So, but if you're interested in that game, just maybe keep an eye out for that weather. Pittsburgh at Minnesota. They say here on Roto Grinders that they feel decent about the first part of the game, but less confident as the game progresses. So that could get delayed or postponed. And the Mets and Royals. Mets at the Royals. Looks like storms will start right around game time. It says a late start may be needed, but they think that they will play baseball, according to Roto Grinders. So those are the games to look out for when it comes to the weather tonight. And then as far as wind goes, I like to use Swish Analytics. SwishAnalytics.com. I think they do a good job. I think it's just easy on the eyes to look at the direction of the wind and the wind speed. I'm not seeing any major wind impacts in any of these games. So we looks like that we're just going to keep the eye on the rain. Once again, just keep an eye out for Seattle and Detroit, Cleveland and Chicago White Sox, Miami and Baltimore, Pittsburgh and Minnesota, Mets and Royals. All right. Yeah, man. So yesterday, uh, the show was great. So, I pretty much liked every underdog, and all of them won or covered except for Washington. But near the end of that show yesterday, I did say that I thought St. Louis could win that game and or cover. Same with what was that other game? The Boston game, Boston and Tampa Bay. So yeah, great show. It's gonna be tough to uh, follow up as good today, but I'll do my best. I man, I spent some of the night last night and a big portion of today preparing for this show. It takes me a lot of time to prepare for these shows. There's a lot of information that I have to gather. Um, so I'm going to give you some statistics here about these games. I think we got cut off there. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you guys can still hear me and stuff now. Okay, so yeah, fatigue is setting in. So we have a lot of games tomorrow morning or afternoon, early games. So I don't think I'll be doing a show tomorrow, but Sunday is the time that I'm looking to do the next show. Anyways, here we go. Miami at Baltimore. Miami's 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game losing streak. Baltimore 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game winning streak. These teams have not played each other this season. The biggest advantage I see with run line trends in this game is the Miami Marlins run line after a loss. They are 30-19. They rank 4th in baseball on the run line after a loss. They also rank 11th best in baseball as a road underdog on that run line, 27-14. Baltimore after a win. They are 17-24. They rank 25th in baseball, and then they rank 23rd on the run line as a home favorite in baseball. So we got Cabrera and Creamer. Usually I take the time to make sure I'm pronouncing these names right before the show, but there were just so many games on today. So if I botch some of these names, please forgive me. Okay, so I'm liking how Miami's bats stack up against the opposing pitcher today more than I like Baltimore and how their bats match up against Miami. Um, Both of these teams, so Miami ranks 8th in runs per games on the road this season. Baltimore ranks 9th best in baseball, runs per game at home this season. Both of these teams are allowing a lot of runs. Baltimore ranks 27th in runs per game allowed at home. Miami allows the most runs per game on the road this season. Base stealing advantage, I have to give Baltimore a slight nod there just because Miami is the worst team at preventing base stealing per game. They allow the most stolen bases per game. Miami barely has a better bullpen ERA than Baltimore. They rank 20th in that department. Baltimore is near the bottom of the league. They rank 25th. And Miami's a tougher team to strike out than Baltimore. Miami ranks 11th in team strikeouts per game. Baltimore ranks 25th. So, with all that being said, I'd have to lean towards Miami covering today, and that could very well be my favorite play of the day today. I really like some of these bats that they have in today, um, and oh yeah, Baltimore's pitcher looks like he has a high home run rate. I'm not going to really be covering home run props right this second, just because we got some games starting up soon. But looks like 1.2 home runs per 9 innings. Uh, let's see, Baltimore. So I look at that parkfactors.com, or I've talked about it in previous shows. That source that kind of tells me which ballparks are good for right-handed hitters and left-handed hitters to hit home runs in. Baltimore's ballpark ranks first for left-handed hitters, just according to that source, and they rank sixth for right-handed hitters, sixth best. So, if you were thinking about taking a Marlin for a home run today, I could see that. Once again, I'm not going to dive into all that at this time. Let me just go see what Cabrera's home run per 9 inning rate looks like, 1.0, so it is lower than Baltimore's pitcher. But yeah, I feel decent about Miami plus that 1.5. Moving on, we got the Chicago Cubs and the New York Yankees. The Yankees were my pick yesterday. That was a sweaty game. Ended up winning by a walk-off, but today's a new day. So I don't see any significant run line trends here, except for that the Yankees rank second best in baseball on the run line as a home favorite. Chicago is the hotter team in their last 10 games. They're 6-4. The Yankees are 4-6, but the Yankees are on a 4-game winning streak. These teams haven't played each other this season, and it looks like Rodon has a high walk rate. He is a left-handed pitcher, and let's see, is Rodon pickoff move good? I'm just going to type that into my search engine here, see what it comes up with. It is considered good, but perhaps not elite. All right. So you may know about his pickoff move a little bit better than I do, but he does have a high walk rate, 3.2 walks per 9 innings. And that's an issue because the Cubs are good at drawing walks. They rank fifth in team walks drawn per game, and the Cubs rank third in stolen bases per game. So if they're walking guys and the Cubs are getting base runners, there's a decent chance they could swipe some bags. Now the Yankees have done a good job this year at preventing that. They do rank ninth best in stolen bases allowed per game. So maybe the Yankees can limit that a little bit. Chicago has a much better bullpen ERA. They rank fourth in baseball. Yankees rank 21st. Chicago also um, ranks fifth in team strikeouts per game. So they're a tough team to strike out. The Yankees rank 26th in that department. Um, this is a tough game for me to call, but I think I'm going to have to lean. I just see more advantages for the Cubs in this game. I like the way their bats match up against Rodon a little bit better than the Yankees match up against Flexen. And I think that's about all I got for this game at this time. Um, and are the Cubs? Cubs are a road dog. So I usually talk about run lines, but I think Cubs can maybe come out with this win. Moving on, Tampa Bay at Boston. Boston is the hottest team in baseball right now. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're on a 7-game winning streak. Tampa Bay, um, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Now Boston is 5-2 against Tampa Bay this season. They've won 3 of those games by 3+ runs. So if you like Boston today, you got that going for you. The line on this game was close. So I didn't look at the run line trends for when Boston is favored or Boston is an underdog at home and all that stuff. But let me just look at this book real quick and see what they got them listed at. Looks like they got the Red Sox favored in this game. So if we look at run line trends and baseball, let's see if we see anything significant here when Boston is a home favorite on that run line. Looks like they're about average relative to other teams in the league when it comes to that run line as a home favorite. And then as an away underdog, I think at the top of my head, Tampa Bay is the best team in baseball on the run line as an away underdog. And yes, they are. So if you do like Tampa Bay today, you got that going for you. If they remain underdogs leading up till first pitch. Um, I like now let me backtrack a little bit. I did say Boston is 5-2 against Tampa Bay this season, but these pitchers haven't pitched against these teams at all this season. So I really like the way Tampa Bay's bats match up in this game more than Boston's. Although I think Boston's bats match up fine. Um, I think Tampa Bay's match up a little bit better. Now, Boston is better at scoring runs per game at home than Tampa Bay is at scoring runs per game on the road, but there's not a significant difference there. Boston allows more runs per game at home than Tampa Bay allows on the road. Tampa Bay ranks seventh in runs per game allowed on the road. Boston ranks 19th at runs per game allowed at home. So just based on those statistics alone, I'd give Tampa Bay a slight advantage there. We talked about that run line. Boston has a better bullpen ERA. They rank seventh in bullpen ERA. Tampa Bay ranks 16th. Team strikeouts per game. Tampa Bay does a better job at not striking out. I I would have to lean towards Tampa Bay in this game, and no, just because they're an underdog. And yesterday, I know we picked a lot of dogs. That's not necessarily the style that I stick with all the time. Believe me, I like favorites, but um, I think I see more reason to like Tampa Bay um, plus 1.5 and even winning this game more than I like Boston today. Even though Boston is the hottest team in baseball, it's a dangerous spot to go against. But and I'm not necessarily telling you to take Tampa Bay or anything like that, or don't take Boston. But um, those are my thoughts on that game. All right, moving on. We got Seattle at Detroit. We talked about how this game could see a little bit of rain possibly. I found an interesting run line trend with Detroit in this game. They are 8-1 on the run line when they have one day off. They are the best team in baseball on the run line when they have a day off of playing. Detroit is 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a one-game losing streak. Seattle's 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they're on a three-game losing streak. Um, I don't know. Maybe you know better than I do, but I don't know how. I don't know if Seattle has had a disheartening loss earlier this year, like they did last night. They gave up that 5-0 lead late in the game. Um, if you were thinking about taking Seattle or going against them, I think that's something to look at. Did they have any other games this season where they got their hearts taken out of their chest, and um, how did they bounce back that next game, that next day? Um, I didn't have enough time to do that today, but you know, if you're interested in this game, I think you got um, some time to look that up. Anyways, um, Detroit's also 3-2 on the run line when they have a rest advantage. Seattle played yesterday. Detroit was off, so you got that going for you if you like Detroit. And also, here's another interesting rest trend. Seattle is 1-6 on the run line when they have a rest disadvantage. So they rank 28th in baseball, 1-6 on the run line when they have a rest disadvantage. Detroit's 2-1 against Seattle this season. Detroit won both of those games by exactly 3 runs, and Detroit only lost by 1 run on that game that they lost. So if you're thinking about, no, Detroit's favored. Anyways, so another interesting run line trend. We were talking about the rest and stuff. Detroit is ranked first on the run line as a home favorite. And they rank 10th on the run line after a loss in baseball. So they're good in these situations on the run line. Seattle ranks 29th on the run line after a loss and 24th on the run line as a road underdog. So just based on that alone, makes me like Detroit. But let's get into some of the other details here. Seattle's pitcher Castillo pitched against Detroit in Seattle on April 2nd, and Seattle won that game. Seattle won. Sorry, I got some buddies texting me here while I'm on the phone. Seattle won this game 3-2. Um, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts by Castillo. So they got the job done, and Scooble pitched against Castillo in that game, which was in Seattle, and Detroit lost 3-2. Scooble had 5.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 home run allowed, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. I like how Detroit's bats match up more today than I do um, Seattle's bats match up against Scooble. Although, from my understanding, Rosarena has some decent history here against Scooble. Um, Batter versus pitcher is something that you can type in your search engine. I'll just click on the first thing that pops up, swishanalytics.com. You filter this by pitcher, go find Scooble. And I'm just kind of interested to see how a Rosarena or hold on, a Rosarena. He has looks like 18 plate appearances, just according to this source. 18 plate appearances. He's batting 313 against him, but 0 home runs. Okay, right. Moving on here, Seattle. Detroit does a very good job at preventing runs per game at home. Seattle uh, is not good at preventing runs per game on the road. Seattle ranks 26th in runs per game allowed on the road. Detroit ranks second in runs per game allowed at home. So there's a big difference there, not a big difference in runs per game on the road for Seattle and runs per game at home for Detroit. So I give Detroit another nod there. This is starting to become my favorite play here, Detroit. Detroit's not a good base stealing team. Seattle's above average at base stealing prevention. And Seattle is good at base stealing. It's one of their strong points, but Detroit's done a good job this year at limiting that. They rank second best in baseball, or excuse me, third best in baseball in regards to stolen bases allowed per game. Bullpen ERAs are neck and neck. Seattle ranks 11th, 3.75. Detroit ranks 12th, 3.77. Detroit strikes out less. Um, you know what, man? And I don't like it because this game could, see some rain. So definitely pay attention to what's going on with the weather there. Once again, it looks like it will likely clip the ballpark in game. Decent chance of a delay. So that may, cause Scooble to come out of this game. But Detroit's bullpen ERA is above average. So hopefully, if that does happen, Detroit can come in there and, you know, take care of business. But I'm going to go ahead and override my Miami play. I do like Miami more than Baltimore today, but I'm feeling a little bit more confident in this Detroit game. I like what I see with these trends. Now, just please keep in mind that Castillo, once again, did pitch against Detroit in Seattle on April 2nd, and Seattle won that game 3-2. But as we talked about, I see just a lot more things going in Detroit's favor. I also just want to clarify, guys, that whenever I say that like a batter has good history off of a pitcher, what I mean by that is that the batter has 10 plus plate appearances against that pitcher and is batting 300 or above. Okay. So there are some guys, maybe there's a guy who's had 9 plate appearances today against a pitcher and has 9 home runs. All right. I didn't look at that. I just looked at whoever had that 10 sample size. Okay. Also, when I say a team has a base stealing advantage, what I mean by that is that the difference between their stolen bases per game and their opponent's stolen bases allowed per game is greater than the opposing teams. I'm not taking pickoff moves into consideration unless mentioned, any injuries, catcher replacement, anything like that. So please keep that in mind. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day today. Thank you for joining the Not Move podcast. All right, and then we got my Rockies at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 3-0 against Colorado this season. Cincinnati won 2 of those games by 2+ runs. I'm sure when we go down this list, we're going to see a lot of things that lean towards Cincinnati more than the Rockies. The Rockies are the worst run line team after a loss. They are the worst run line team record wise as a road underdog. These pitchers haven't pitched against each other though this season. The Rockies score the second least amount of runs per game on the road. They allow the second most runs per game on the road. Um, Now, I do feel better about the Rockies today than I did on that first show when the Rockies played Boston. And the reason why is because Goodman and Moniak are in the line, are projected to be in that starting lineup. But I still like how Cincinnati's bats match up more against Marquez than the Rockies do against Burns. Stolen bases per game. Cincinnati has the advantage there. Cincinnati has the bullpen advantage, the strikeouts advantage. I mean, I don't want to, give you something, too chalky here. I think we all, uh, as I'm wearing this Rockies hat, I think we all can, uh, you know, take that take that loss if we go Cincinnati and the Rockies end up winning this game tonight. So yeah, give me Cincinnati to win this game or to win this game. By uh, handily win this game. Moving on, Mets and Kansas City Royals. Once again, this is another game to keep an eye on for the weather. Looks like, let me update this Roto Grinders and see if they've updated anything about this game. Looks like there will be some storms that come around Kansas City, but they'll move out quick enough, is what this source says. They'll move out quick enough to play some ball tonight. A late start may be needed. The Kansas City Royals 7-3 in their last 10 games on a 4-game winning streak. The Mets 5-5 in their last 10 games and are on a 2-game losing streak. These teams have not played each other this season. I did not see any run line trends that made me open my eyes a little bit more. I think both of these bats match up pretty evenly against each other, against the respective pitchers tonight. Runs per game on the road, Mets rank 15th. Runs per game allowed at home, Royals rank 7th. Royals score the least amount of runs per game at home this season. They rank 30th, and the Mets, they rank 19th in runs per game allowed on the road. So the Mets have the advantage there. Stolen bases per game. I mean, I don't even know who to give the advantage to here. Uh, the Mets rank 12th in stolen bases per game. The Royals rank 13th in stolen bases per game. And these are the top 2 teams at stolen bases allowed per game, at base stealing prevention. Kansas City has a better bullpen ERA. They rank sixth. The Mets rank 14th. Kansas City strikes out less per game. They rank second. The Mets rank eighth. So very close game to call. I don't feel comfortable going with either side here. If I were to have to choose a side, I see more advantages for the Royals. You know, we talked about how they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a 4-game winning streak. It is concerning that they score the least amount of runs per game at home this season. Runs per game. Um, let's see. Let's see what they've been doing, and you can even dive deep if you think it's important for what a team has done in their last 3 games. The Royals are up there. They've scored 5.67 runs per game in their last 3 games, which ties for one, two, three, four, fifth best in baseball. And the Mets, um, they've only scored 3.67 runs per game in their last 3. So if you find that information useful, there you have it. But yeah, I guess what it comes down to is just the Royals bullpen, the fact that they're at home, they're a hotter team, and they strike out less. Moving on. I also just wanted to mention if you guys are commenting or anything like that, I'm unable to see that. Oh, hey, what's up, LG? Just read some comments. And I think if you guys wanted to make comments, the best way to do that is joining the Kick. Although you can watch on YouTube, from my understanding, and some other platforms. Like I said, I'm new to this, the Kick thing. I'm new to the whole podcast thing. I did a lot of baseball shows last season on other platforms. This is my third one on this platform. So um, I think the best way to go about it, if you do have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me or JB. Oh, they can comment on YouTube and Kick. Cool, cool. Nice, nice. Yeah, so YouTube or Kick. If you're watching from somewhere else, feel free to send JB a message or send me a message. Anyways, here we go. Washington at Milwaukee. So Milwaukee's hotter team right now. They've won their last 4 games. Excuse me, they've won their last 4 games. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Washington is 4-6 in their last 10 games. They're on a 1-game losing streak. These teams have not played each other this season. Parker, pitcher for Washington, from my understanding, has a high walk rate, 3.4 walks per 9 innings. The Brewers rank seventh in team walks per game, so they're good at drawing walks. The Brewers are. Uh, However, Parker is a lefty, and I hear that his pickoff move is good. So if Milwaukee were to get some base runners on base by drawing some walks, um, they do rank second in stolen bases per game this season out of all teams. And Washington ranks 13th in stolen bases allowed per game. But maybe they limit those stolen bases a little bit more with Parker on the bump. I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do about that. But I do hear that his pickoff move is good. I think these bats. I got to give Milwaukee the advantage here. How they match up against Parker more than how Washington's bats match up against Milwaukee's starting pitcher. Now, Washington is scoring more runs per game on the road this season than Milwaukee scores at home. Washington ranks ninth best in baseball runs per game on the road. Milwaukee ranks 22nd, so they're below average at runs per game at home. But Milwaukee has done a very good job at limiting runs per game allowed at home. And Washington allows the fourth most runs per game allowed on the road this season. Milwaukee has a significant bullpen advantage. They have a 4.02 ERA. They rank 18th in that department. Washington has the worst bullpen ERA in baseball, 5.83. Now, on previous shows, I've mentioned that it's tough for me. I have to have good reasoning to back a team that has a bad bullpen, especially when you're at the bottom of the league. I don't see enough reasoning for me to, go with Washington here in this game. So I'll have to go with Milwaukee in this game. I thought about making this, the play that I like the most, and I do like Milwaukee. Um, but one of the reasons why I like Milwaukee is because of their base stealing. But I think it's all about how Parker and that Washington team defends against it. If they can limit that, I think this could be a close game. I could see Milwaukee winning this game by a run, but I would have to lean towards Milwaukee on that run line. All right, Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Pittsburgh, they're on a six-game losing streak, 4-6 in their last 10. Minnesota, 5-5 in their last 10. They're on a one-game losing streak. These teams haven't played each other this season, but wasn't there some weather implications in this game? Let's go take a look again. Pittsburgh at Minnesota, a broken line of showers. According to rotogrinders.com, a broken line of showers and storms moves in during the game, then gradually slows, stalls, and eventually fizzles out. Um, so it looks like they're thinking there's a chance for a delay in this game. So just keep that in mind if you want to. I don't see any significant run line trends. I like how Minnesota's bats match up more against Pittsburgh than how Pittsburgh's match up against the starting pitching for Minnesota. Pittsburgh scores the least amount of runs per game on the road this season, 2.87. They rank 30th. And Minnesota uh, ranks 12th. So Minnesota's above average in runs per game at home. Pittsburgh stolen bases. Pittsburgh does have a base stealing advantage over Minnesota. They rank ninth in stolen bases per game. Minnesota ranks 14th in stolen bases allowed per game. Minnesota ranks 23rd in stolen bases per game, and Pittsburgh ranks 16th in stolen bases allowed per game. Pittsburgh has the bullpen ERA advantage. They rank 10th best in baseball. Minnesota is below average. They rank 22nd. Minnesota strikes out a little bit less than Pittsburgh does. If I were to lean aside here, I'd have to go with Minnesota, even though Skeens is pitching. For the reasons we talked about, I think mainly it's just Minnesota's bats. I like how they match up better there, and they strike out a little bit less. I mean, I think this is a tough game to call. I don't feel comfortable enough to get any skin on this game, but maybe you like Minnesota and you're listening to this podcast right now, and you're like, okay, he's leaning towards Minnesota. I like him even more now. I think that's what it's all about is building your reasoning up. And, I don't, I'm not trying to necessarily persuade anybody from going taking one thing or not taking something, but really just giving you some other reasons. If you feel good about a team or are feeling a little uneasy about a team, I like to give you some information to help you maybe make that decision a little bit easier for you. And we're moving on. Texas at Houston. Texas 5-5 in their last 10 games at Houston. Houston 6-4 in their last 10 games. Texas beat the Angels last night, and Houston is on a 3-game losing streak. These teams have a 2-2 record against each other this season, so they played 4 games. Each team has won 2 games apiece. Houston won one of those games by exactly 3 runs. They won the other game by a run. Texas won one game by exactly 4 runs, and they won the other game by a run. These pitchers have pitched against each other this season. Not in the same game, though. Texas starting pitcher Leader. Once again, I usually work on the pronunciations of these names before I get on the air. So if I mispronounce some of these names, I just didn't have the time to work on that today. There was a lot of games. I had to get a lot of information. Okay, so the starting pitcher for the Rangers, Leader, I'd say Leader, pitched versus Houston on 5/18, and Texas lost that game 4-3. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 home run allowed, 2 walks allowed, 4 strikeouts. McCullers pitched at Texas on 5/16, and Houston won that game 6-3. McCullers had 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. I like how Houston's bats match up more against Texas pitcher today than I do Houston's bats match up. Excuse me. I like how Houston's bats match up more against Texas starting pitcher today than Texas bats match up against Houston's today. I don't really want to get into all the reasoning why about that, but um, I think I mentioned it on one of the previous shows a little bit. Runs per game on the road, Texas ranks 17th. Houston ranks 17th as well at runs per game at home. So I mean, and then these both of these teams allow about the same amount of runs per game in their respective places. Houston ranks 8th in runs per game allowed at home. Texas ranks 9th in runs per game allowed on the road. I would say Texas has a significant base stealing advantage in this game. They rank 4th in stolen bases per game. Houston allows the second most stolen bases per game this season. Houston's not a good base stealing team. They rank 25th in stolen bases per game, and Texas ranks 11th in stolen bases allowed per game. Both of these bullpen ERAs are in the top 5. Houston barely edging them, and Houston ranks 6th in strikeouts per game and team strikeouts per game, and Texas ranks 13th. So both of these teams are above average when it comes to being struck out per game. I don't know where to go with this, so I'm just going to go. I don't feel really comfortable with this game. I like some things with Texas here. I like how they have a significant base stealing advantage. What is Houston's biggest advantage here, right? I don't. I like how their bats match up against this pitcher. So it's like, which one is more important to you, right? Is it more important for you to go with the bats that match up a little bit better, or the base stealing that matches up, a lot? Maybe I don't think this leader guy necessarily has a excuse me, McCullers. I don't think McCullers necessarily has a high walk rate, but let's go check it out. McCullers. Let me just look at this real quick. Oh, 5.6 walks per 9 innings. I'm thinking Texas can get some base runners here. I'm still gonna go with Houston, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas dominated, stealing some bases here in this game. But once again, I don't feel good about either side. But give me Houston, I suppose. Then we got that doubleheader. I'm not going to go over doubleheader. There's other variables, other factors that go into that, and there's too many games today to even bother with that. The White Sox starting lineup isn't even out yet for that game. If you're interested in Cleveland's starting lineup for that game, though, guys, looks like they got Gavin Williams going up against Jonathan Cannon. And I'll just run. No, I'm not even gonna bother doing that. Moving on. All right, Atlanta and St. Louis. Atlanta's 2-8 in their last 10 games. St. Louis is 4-6 in their last 10 games. Atlanta's 2-1 against St. Louis this season. Atlanta won one of those games by exactly 3. The other games they won. The other game they won by exactly 1. St. Louis won their only game that they beat Atlanta in by exactly 6. I don't see any significant run line trends in this game, except that Atlanta. Oh, I just made a note about this. This morning, Atlanta was a road favorite, but I think that they're now a road dog. And once again, that's not going to change a whole lot. I mean, I know some of you, it means a whole lot to some of you, right? With like splits and stuff like that. But for me, I just kind of like looking at the trends. How does that affect the trends, at least for the sakes of this show? So Atlanta as a away underdog on the run line. They rank 30, 29, 28, 27, 26th in baseball on that run line when they're a road underdog. So they're not good on that run line as a road underdog. St. Louis as a home favorite on the run line is below average. All right. Neither of these pitchers have pitched against each other this season. Holmes, the pitcher for Atlanta, I'm seeing that he has a high walk rate and a high home run rate. So if you like a home run hitter for St. Louis, you got that going for you. But I'm not going to talk about home runs at this time. Walk rate, 4.2 walks per 9 innings. St. Louis is a slightly below average in team walks drawn per game. I think both of these teams match up decently against the opposing starting pitchers here. I would have to give a slight edge to St. Louis there, though. Very minimal edge. Runs per game. St. Louis has the advantage when it comes to all the runs per game statistics that we talk about. I would say a slight advantage there. Stolen bases per game. We talked about how Holmes, the starting pitcher for Atlanta, could walk some guys, but St. Louis isn't necessarily the most speedy team. They rank 24th in stolen bases per game. Atlanta ranks 25th in stolen bases allowed per game. So I don't really see an advantage there for St. Louis. Atlanta does rank 28th in stolen bases per game, and St. Louis ranks 21st. So once again, St. Louis, I'm just seeing a bunch of small advantages that are adding up here for St. Louis. But Atlanta does have a slightly better bullpen ERA, and St. Louis is a tougher team to strike out. St. Louis ranks 7th in team strikeouts per game, and Atlanta ranks 21st. I'd have to give the slight edge to St. Louis, but I don't feel good about this game. And you're not going to hear me say that I feel good about every game. You're just not going to. I'm very selective in what I like to pick. And we talk about this a lot on previous shows. I'll give you, which side that I'm leaning on. But I'm not like big into like parlays and stuff like that. But if you guys are into that, I'm not here to knock you for that. That's your style. If you want to do that, I don't have, you know, that's your style. If you guys want me to cover some parlays stuff, just send me a message. Send JB a message. Feel free to. And maybe we can cover some of that stuff on future shows. But for the sakes of today's show, I'm not gonna be making 20 leg parlays with 20 different alternate run lines. Okay, Arizona, how many games do we have left to talk about? 4 games left to talk about. Let's see if we have any weather updates, guys. Looking like we're nearing first pitch in some of these games. And as you guys know, whenever we get to the later portion of the slate, I have a little bit less information to work with. I typically feel better about the games that start earlier, and we're starting to get right around that time with these games. But I still have some good information here for these upcoming 4 games. All right, Arizona and the Los Angeles Angels both are 4-6 in their last 10 games, and both are on a 1-game losing streak. These teams have not played each other this season. The run line trend that sticks out to me the most is that the Angels rank 8th best in baseball on the run line after a loss. This line was really close last I saw, so I didn't. I have to recheck it. Let me go look real quick. What this book is saying here. I got the Angels as a slight favorite. This morning I had them as a home underdog. So maybe there is another run line trend. Trend real quick. Angels is a home favorite, below average. Arizona as a road dog. They rank 3rd best in baseball. So if you are, really interested in run line trends, and you like Arizona today, they have switched from being the favorite to the underdog, which is advantageous for that team. Okay, so Anderson, left-handed pitcher, high walk rate, high home run rate, 3.4 walks per 9 innings. And Arizona ranks 3rd in walks drawn per game. Makes me want to look at Arizona stolen bases per game. They rank 15th best in that department. The Angels rank 17th in stolen bases allowed per game. The Angels are the 2nd worst team in stolen bases per game, and Arizona does a good job at base stealing prevention. They rank 10th in stolen bases allowed per game. Arizona, they rank 5th in runs per game on the road, and the Angels rank 25th in runs per game allowed at home. Arizona does allow a similar amount of runs per game on the road, but the Angels' offense hasn't quite got up to Arizona's pace there offensively when they're at home. They rank 14th in runs per game at home. Both of these bullpens are trash. Arizona ranks 27th in that bullpen ERA. Angels rank 28th. Arizona strikes out. They're above average. They're a tougher team to strike out, and the Angels strike out more times per game than any team in the league. I also like how the Angels bats match up against. Excuse me. I like how the Diamondbacks bats match up against the Angels more than the other way around. Marte has good history off of Tyler Anderson. And if you're thinking about taking a home run hitter in this game, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I do want to talk about it real quick. Angels ballpark for right-handed hitters, they rank fifth best according to that Park Factors website. Fifth best for home runs for right-handed hitters. So if you're looking to take a right-handed hitter for the home run in this Angels game tonight, you got that going for you. But with that being said, when we look at Tyler Anderson, his splits, this is a little bit more advanced here. But when we look at Tyler Anderson's splits versus righties and lefties this season, lefties have a higher batting average this season against him, a much higher batting average. To be specific, lefties are batting a 315 off of him, and right-handed batters are batting 228. He's allowing about the same amount of home runs, but he's faced way more many righties. So I could see a left-handed hitter hit one off of Anderson, but this ballpark, what we didn't say it was for left-handed hitters. It was advantageous for left-handed hitters. We said it was the fifth best for right-handed hitters. Uh, since we've already dove this deep into it, let me look to see what it ranks for lefties. The Angel Stadium. Right about average, according to this website here. Savant, Savant, baseball, savant.com. And there's a lot of different filters that you can put on this, but so it's middle of the pack, right? And when we look at left-handed batters, Josh Naylor for Arizona. Good. Once again, Marte has good history off of Tyler Anderson. Anyways, got a little off track there. Let's get back to the matter at hand here. I like Arizona in this game. I don't, like it as much as some of the other games that we mentioned, but yeah, I lean towards Arizona in that game. All right, moving on. Some of you may be wondering what Tyler Anderson's home run rate is. Looks like 1.5 home runs per 9 innings. Anyways, moving on. Philadelphia at San Diego. Philadelphia 6-4 in their last 10 games. San Diego's 5-5 in their last 10 games. Both of these teams are on a one-game win streak. Philadelphia won both of the games that they did beat San Diego in by exactly 4 runs. Philadelphia ranks third on the run line as a road favorite, but San Diego ranks fourth on the run line as a home underdog. Now, the starting lineups were not out whenever I started this show. Let me refresh this page once again. I like to use rotowire.com for MLB lineup confirmations. I think they do a great job with accurate information. Once again, though, sometimes they're wrong, but it seems like it's very rare that they get lineups wrong. And sometimes there's just like late scratches and stuff. So I think they do the best job. Okay. So let me just look at these lineups real quick and compare them. Okay. Iglesias has good history, I'm seeing, off of this pitcher, off of Suarez. 10 at bats, 6 hits. Neither of these pitchers have pitched against each other this season. Both of these teams are evenly matched. I'm not going to go over all of the data, but they're evenly matched when it comes to runs per game on the road and all that stuff. Stolen bases per game. Philadelphia has the advantage there. They rank 5th in stolen bases per game. San Diego ranks 14th in stolen bases allowed per game. San Diego ranks 18th in stolen bases per game. Philadelphia ranks 8th in stolen bases allowed per game. So just based on that, Philadelphia has a base stealing advantage. I don't know how good or bad the left-handed. Yo, hold on. Let's backtrack real quick, guys. See, this is why like starting pitchers are really important. And I just got to double check to make sure that all the other starting pitchers that were projected to start are starting here. Because there's a different starting pitcher in. So that changes everything. We got a right-handed pitcher in for the Padres today. So I'm a little bit unprepared for that. I had a left-handed pitcher in for them. Maybe we can come back to this game so I can cover these other 2 games, and then we can come back to this Philadelphia-San Diego game. But that does change some stuff. So let's put that game on pause for a moment. In the future, I'm just going to have to look to see, before I start talking about a game, that the starting pitchers that I thought were starting are starting, because we just wasted some time there. My apologies. Okay, so Toronto at Athletics. I was calling them Oakland yesterday. Try to refrain from doing that today. So we got Scherzer on the bump versus Severino. Toronto 9-1 in their last 10 games. On a 1-game losing streak. Athletics 5-5 in their last 10. 1-game winning streak. Toronto is 4-0 against the Athletics this season, and Toronto won 3 of those games by 4+ runs. I would say Toronto has a lot of run line trends working for them as well. So they rank 5th best in baseball on the run line after a loss. They rank 9th on the run line as a road favorite. And the Athletics rank 23rd on the run line after a win and 22nd on the run line as a home underdog. Let me look at these starting lineups once again. Athletics is the only one that dropped. I got to look at Toronto's real quick. One moment, please. Okay. Looks like Bichette and VJG have good history off of this pitcher. And I like how Toronto's bats match up against Severino more than I do Athletics match up against Scherzer. I know some of you do like strikeout props. That's one of the reasons why I like to mention how many times a team strikes out per game. Scherzer, I don't know if he's like, I don't know what his line is, right? And I don't know if he's a strikeout machine like he used to be. But whenever I hear that name, I think of strikeouts. The highest amount he's had this season is 7. It looks like he hasn't pitched too deep into games. 3 innings pitched, five, and 4. So I'm thinking Toronto, and that's another thing to look into, guys. Through your research is not just who the starting pitcher is, but how likely is it that the bullpen is going to become a bigger factor, right? So the bullpen might be a big factor here. Toronto does rank ninth best in baseball with that bullpen ERA 3.58. Um, Athletics are better at runs per game at home than Toronto is on the road. Athletics allow the second most runs per game at home, though. I don't see a big base stealing advantage for anybody here, but I would give Toronto the nod there just because they're better at base stealing prevention. Toronto's bullpen is miles ahead of the Athletics. They rank ninth best, as we mentioned, and the Athletics bullpen ERA ranks 29th in baseball. So only one other team has a worse bullpen than them. And Blue Jays are the toughest team to strike out. They rank first in strikeouts per game. Athletics rank 20th. So with that being said, I just see more advantages for Toronto in this game today. Once again, they're 4-0 against the Athletics this season. They won 3 of those games by 4+ runs. They have better run line trend. I like how their batters match up against Severino more than the Athletics bats match up against Scherzer. I like the bullpen for Toronto. Give me Toronto. Moving on, Dodgers and Giants. This is the last game, and then we'll kind of go back, and I'll look to see if how much that changes that Phillies game here in just a second, and then maybe even get into it's a little bit late now for home run props, probably for you most of you guys, and the reason why the show is so late is for lineup confirmations for the most part, guys. The maybe we should have started at like maybe 4:30, but a lot of that information came out right before I got on the air. So I think it was good timing today, but maybe in the future, make it maybe 4:30 or so. Um, Dodgers at San Francisco. The Dodgers, man, they're on a 6-game losing streak. They're slumping right now, 4-6 in their last 10, and San Francisco 6-4 in their last 10, lost 1 in a row. The Dodgers are 2-1 against the Giants this season. They won one of those games by exactly 6. They won the other one by exactly 1. And the Dodgers lost one game against San Francisco by exactly 4. I don't see any significant run line trends. I guess the worst one that I see is that the Dodgers are ranked 28th on the run line after a loss. These pitchers have pitched against these teams earlier this year. May, and now I have to go look to make sure that May is starting, but the lineup hasn't been okay. It just was confirmed by RotoWire.com. Dustin May pitching against Logan Webb. So May pitched in Los Angeles. This game's in San Francisco, but yeah, he pitched in Los Angeles on 6/15, and the Dodgers won that game 5-4. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Webb pitched at LA on 6/13, and San Francisco won that game 6-2. 7 innings pitched. He only allowed 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. I like how the Dodgers bats match up today more than San Francisco's bats. I hear I saw Freddie Freeman has good history against Logan Webb. Dodgers offense. Both of these teams are about the same when it comes to limiting runs per game at home and on the road. But the Dodgers rank 10th best in runs per game on the road. The Giants rank 24th in runs per game at home. I wouldn't really give any team a base stealing advantage here, but I guess I'd have to lean towards. I'd have to lean towards San Francisco having a base stealing advantage just because they're better at limiting that. Bullpen ERA, San Francisco's miles ahead. They rank first in baseball, 3.17 ERA bullpen. Dodgers rank 24th, 4.44. Dodgers strike out slightly less per game. Um, I'd have to lean towards the Dodgers in this one. Once again, I like that how their bats match up against Webb. I don't see anything like too significant here. Now, we talked about that bullpen for the Dodgers, right? It's not good. How many innings is this Dustin May guy? You know, going through 7 innings is his last game. 6. So it looks like he's getting about on average about 6 innings per game. Specifically against San Francisco, he had that 6 innings pitched, right? Yeah, 6 innings pitched. Gave up 3 earned runs. So I think he's going to need to probably pitch around that six innings pitched mark again for the Dodgers to have a solid chance in this game, especially since they're slumping. Webb is, I mean, just like based on the best of my recollection, man. Webb is tough whenever he's pitching in San Francisco, so this isn't a spot that I feel great about. I would just have to lean for the Dodgers in this one. So let me go back up to this Philadelphia San Diego game. Once again, my next show will not be tomorrow morning. I would have to start my research pretty much right now, um, and all throughout the night to put on a good show for you guys tomorrow. And I'm really not at my best whenever I'm, exhausted. I'm one human being here. Um, but Sunday morning is what I was shooting for, right before that All-Star break. But yeah, let me just look into this real quick and how much this changes my feelings about this Philadelphia and San Diego Padres game. Um, yeah, I hope this show comes somewhat close to yesterday's show. Once again, yesterday's show was awesome when it comes to the predictions, and I used a similar thought process with you guys here today. I tried to at least. But hopefully, you're not just coming in here and I mean, if you want to, more power to you. But hopefully, you're coming in here with some sort of idea of what you like, and maybe just looking for somebody else's thoughts. Okay, so I'm looking at Philadelphia against. And I'm not going to look to see if they have any history off of this pitcher or anything like that. I'm just. I think I actually like the Phillies situation a little bit more today than I originally did. And they're not going up against a lefty, who, once again, lefties are typically tougher to steal bases on. San Diego's got a righty starting today. Yeah, I'd have to lean towards the Phillies in this one. Um, did I mention anything about home? I mean, I know some of you guys may be sticking around, hoping maybe there's a lone soul out there thinking, is this guy going to mention anything about home runs? I think I already mentioned this earlier, but if I didn't, I use baseball savant. It's like park. If you type in park factors in your search engine, you'll be able to use it and filter it to whatever criteria that you want. My filter tells me that the best parks for right-handed hitters for home runs today are Cincinnati, Angels, Orioles, Athletics, Yankees, and Houston. For left-handed hitters, Baltimore ranks first in baseball. Yankees rank second. White Sox seventh. Athletics ninth. All right, so let me just before I get off the waves here, let me look at the weather. I always like to check the weather before, during, and after these shows, and then I'll make an announcement whenever the next show is. I really appreciate you guys for joining today. Hopefully, you find these shows informative. If there's any other information that you want me to be have ready for you before the show, feel free to let me know. I know a lot of you probably do like those strikeout props and home runs and stuff like that. So feel free to let me know, or JB. But let me just look at this weather and we'll get out of here. And I'll probably once again see you guys Sunday morning is what I'm going to shoot for. Sounds good. I mean, we have to do a show for the last day of baseball before the All-Star break, right? Once again, I'm not going to do one tomorrow. Unless I catch a second and third wind. See, I'm okay. I'm not seeing anything delayed yet or postponed or anything like that. Score update: Baltimore's up 1-0 against Miami. You know, I did like Miami plus that 1.5 in that one. So hopefully Miami turns things around. But if not, it's not the end of the world. Uh, Tampa Bay's up 1-0. I was leaning towards Tampa Bay getting that victory today, or at least covering. That line was close, covering a plus 1.5. I mentioned Boston was slightly favored in that game. The Rockies didn't score a run in the top half of that first inning. Well, what do you know? Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I don't see any delays or anything from Roto Grinders quite yet. If you're interested, once again, I like to use rotogrinders.com for my weather updates for the most part. For the most part. All right. Well, thanks again for joining the Not Move podcast. This is Bettors. Good luck, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'll see you guys Sunday morning, and I'll make an announcement. Thanks again.